Hey everybody, I got a couple errands to run, so I thought you might want to go with me. But let's make it interesting. Let's take her. Let's run some errands. Put on my trusty sunglasses. Now for clarity, the car we're taking today is a 1931 Chevrolet Independence by the name of Dotty. I've had Dotty a few months now. I treat her almost as a daily driver. And I live in the heart of Portland, Oregon, which makes driving her creative sometimes. She's a 6-cylinder, 3-speed. Her top speed is, 45 miles an hour, although I don't often take her that fast. Seems like her sweet spot is somewhere between 30 and 40. We get anywhere close to that. I want to thank you for tuning into my channel. I got lots of great stuff coming up. I have a 3-part series that will teach you how to use a period correct camera. I'll be focusing on cameras from about 1900 to about 1940 and teaching you about what's out there to get inexpensively, how to shoot with it, how to pose your subjects, how to compose your shots so they look absolutely period correct, and even how to develop your own shots at home without a darkroom. End up being a 3-part series, and I'm still currently working on it, so be patient. There are no signals on Dotty. Before the day of turn signals. Most of the time it's I just kind of turn. I used to hand signal quite a bit, but for the most part people today, they don't understand what those signals mean, and so they think I'm just waving at them. As you can see right there, she darts around traffic pretty well. You have to be really careful when driving a car like this. They're not quite as nimble as a modern car can be. She has mechanical brakes, which means that stepping on the brakes is a suggestion to the car, not an order. So I have to allow for a little bit of extra braking distance. Transmission is not synchronized, so you have to double clutch between gears, which honestly, once you get used to doing it, you kind of do it subconsciously. She doesn't shift down particularly well because, again, there's no synchro on the gears, so in order to shift down like this, you have to try to match the RPMs as best you can. But almost always you're going to get a quick little coffee grind there. First stop today is the post office. I'll just run these packages and I'll just be a sec. I'm back. Did you miss me? I know I did. Next stop. Let's get some gas. I'm not entirely sure what Dotty's mileage is when it comes to miles per gallon. I don't know. I'm thinking she probably gets pretty close to maybe 20, 25 miles per gallon, maybe a little less. It's not too bad. It's not like I'm driving to Nebraska in her. So I end up putting gas in her maybe a couple times a month. I do get the odd puzzled look, especially since I generally dress the part when I'm driving her. Feels kind of weird to drive a car like this while wearing just like, you know, modern clothes. Let's spend a bunch of money on gas. Oh my God, gas is expensive. All right. This is the moments where I kind of wish it was 1935. Gas would be so much cheaper. Parts would be easier to find too. All right, let's go home. when smooth paved roads were not really like common. Certainly not outside of a city. And so her suspension's kind of designed to ride on absolute crappy roads, which is probably a good thing. I live in Portland, Oregon, because we have some of the worst roads I've ever driven on. Feel free to forward that comment to any city official you feel the need to. Dotty, I was really nervous driving her. You know, she's almost 100 years old. Getting close to it anyway. And she doesn't really drive a lot like a modern car. At least not at first, it didn't feel that way. But the more I drove her, the more relaxed I got. Now she drives really no different than any of my other cars. I have two other modern cars, my normal daily drivers, and Dotty really doesn't feel any different, short of the fact that I have to shift, and my other two are automatics. I did have, before this car, a 1927 Dodge. Now that car drove like a farm implement. I might as well have just been driving a tractor around town. It had only back brakes, and those were not even really brakes. I might as well have just put my foot down through the floorboard and done it Fred Flintstone style. She was a 4-cylinder. She had about the same amount of power as Dot, maybe a little less. She could barely reach 30 miles an hour without feeling like she was going to shake apart. And I got rid of that car because I just felt like that thing was going to kill me, especially driving in this kind of traffic. So I sold her and I bought Dot. And realized quickly the massive technological advancements in just 4 years in the auto industry between 1927 and 1931. It was a remarkable difference. This car steers like a modern car. It handles like a modern car. It's way more comfortable and easy to drive. I was shocked at the difference between the two cars, even though, you know, they were only 4 years apart. The amount of advancement with comfort and reliability, it was incredible. But of course, you look at cars today, you know, that are 90-some years later, and they're remarkably similar and incredibly different. You will note, though, that a car like Dotty, any car that's, say, pre-1935, they all have the basic same lines. They have that Model T, Model A, boxy, floating headlight, extended fender kind of look. Whether they're a Dodge or a Ford or a Chevy, doesn't make a difference. They all have that same basic body shape, which is why whenever I stop someplace, I inevitably get somebody asking me what year is my Model A, and I have to explain to them that it's a Chevy, not a Model A. body shapes that are futuristic. But now today, we started going back to that old look where all cars, especially sedans, have that same basic body shape. Where at a distance you can't tell a difference between a Chevy Malibu and a Honda Accord. The same was true back then for this type of car. And just like that, we're back home. Well, I want to thank you for coming along with me on this little trip. Had to run a couple errands, so I thought you guys might want to come along. Keep an eye on this channel for these upcoming episodes. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit the little bell icon so you'll be alerted when I do upload something. And thanks for watching. Don't leave your keys in a car in Portland, Oregon. Just FYI.